Hello everyone, welcome back to Real Life. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Today's episode is original coverage of the 1972 Knox Mountain Hill Climb in Kelowna, BC. This hour-long film is a delight to watch. Now historical, it's also a slice of culture and fashion, as we'll see. Amusingly, the hosts fudged a wee bit on a description of the event. With rain on the first day and sunny conditions on the second day, they took liberties describing the unusual weather. As well, the audio clearly does not match on several corners, as the editor appears to have taken even more liberties with sound. Lotus Cortinas do not sound like Trans Ams. Again, quite amusing, but likely the result of no sound captured on the corner. Just the same, I hope you enjoy this recent donation to the collection. Now restored, it will be preserved. Enjoy.
Hi everybody, I'm Bernie Pascoe in beautiful Kelowna, British Columbia. Welcome to CTV's Wide World of Sports. This afternoon we present the 15th annual Knox Mountain Hill Climb here in Kelowna. With us CTV's racing expert Jeff Howe. And Jeff, we had some exceptional times yesterday in the practice runs. I guess that means we're in for a pretty exciting race today.
Yes, I think so, Bernie. And I think the terrific competition that you talk about is going to be between the Formula cars and some of the big American sedans, such as last year's winner, John Hall, who had a tremendous first run yesterday afternoon and without really trying, seemed to put up a time within 1 second of his last year's winning time of 2:01.9. In the Formula division, that's the open wheel cars, Dave Morris of Edmonton, who is an experienced racing driver on the circuit, came out for his first look at Knox Mountain and turned a 2:01. And on these times, I think that we're going to see our competition. I mustn't forget some of the other drivers who put up a fine time yesterday, and that'll be another Formula car from the West Coast, Gordy Monroe, who in his Brabham BT21 also turned a 2:02.
Jeff, over this grueling 2.2-mile course here in Kelowna, there will be some exceptional speeds, perhaps up to as high as 100 miles an hour, perhaps a little faster than that. You mentioned Hall winning last year, and he has the Trans Am sedan. Is that the type of vehicle that we'll see today, or will there be a wide variety?
Well, there'll certainly be a wide variety, and I think talking about John's big Mustang, it's rather unusual that the car of that size and that power could do such a wonderful time. But, as you know, in motor racing, anything can happen. Even one of the smaller Lotuses could take the prize at the end of the day.
Jeff, we're looking forward to an exciting race here at Knox Mountain today. Let's go up top and pick up the action.
Well, down in the pit area here, we're waiting for the drivers to tackle the hill, a hill which rises 800 feet in its 2.2-mile length. And that's the name of the game today, to put your car up this hill in the fastest time possible against the clock. The drivers have had 2 runs, and they're going all out to beat their previous times in this final run and final assault on what's known locally as Lady Knox.
John Sharples in car number 202 starts things off here. John is from Kelowna, and he takes off from the sedan under 2,000cc class in his Alpha GTV. And up John goes the Knox Mountain Hill Climb way.
Well, this car is 2 weeks old, just 2 weeks old, which is rather a surprising thing about a sports car that's competing up this hill. John competed last year in an MGA, and I'm sure he's finding this Alpha much faster and handling very differently from the car he used before.
John is considered a very smooth driver, and I think we'll get an indication of just why as he climbs the hill climb.
150 horsepower in this car. It's no slouch, and going into the second hairpin there, he takes it beautifully and then climbs away, heading for the series of S's that take the drivers up the 800 feet. And there we see him going through those S's as he heads for one of the long straightaways. And here he comes, a beautiful lean, taking a very fine line going through these corners. The white line in the center, of course, for tourists. This is not heeded by the drivers. They're setting their cars up for the best and fastest line through these corners. Look at him go through that corner there with a beautiful bit of lean, drift, full power on, then braking sharply. You saw even the disc brakes smoke as he braked hard for that corner. The time he's got to beat is 2:19.7, which was his time on his second run. And this final run is a do-or-die one for John Sharples to get a class win. And he throws that car over the final finish line with a 2:22.03, which wasn't quite good enough, but I think he's well placed.
No, Jeff, we might explain the weather situation here in Kelowna today. A light rain down here at the start, but as you progress up the mountain, once you get to the top, you can tell that the pavement is dry and the sun is shining up there. Rather a weird day weather-wise. This is car number 48, Ray McGowan from Calgary, Alberta, and Ray's in a Lotus Cortina.
Yes, and Ray is competing in a different class. He is in the under 2-liter sedan class, Group 2. Our fans who are true enthusiasts of motorsport will notice that this is a slightly modified car, with a little twitch there. You can see on the back window the window clips that are mandatory for a racing sedan. This is a Lotus Cortina with overhead cam engine. Ray's been racing in the prairies for some time, and it's his first look at Lady Knox Mountain Hill Climb. And he seems to be getting it all together on this, his last run. This car has been modified, that's why it's in the class, and is putting out 140 horsepower from this 4-cylinder Lotus engine. On the right there, Bernie, you can see one of the marshals supplied by some of the local clubs. And they're very, very essential people on this hill to be ever present in case of anything happening.
I mentioned the hill climb is sponsored by the Okanagan Auto Sport Club, and about 80 entries entered in this weekend event. And we're into the final day of action here in Kelowna, British Columbia.
Well, the road conditions, as you can see, are beautiful here, and Ray's really pushing it. See the smoke from the tires as he throws it over the finish line again, and his time was 2:18.04, which is pretty good. But we'll have to wait and see whether it's good enough to win his class.
Another entrant here from British Columbia, Andrew Field of North Vancouver, in car number 385. Right, mentioned the timing device with rather up-to-date setup here, Jeff.
Yes, it's an electric eye which a beam across the road as the cars leave the start line. You can see the car. They were having a little bit of trouble with Andrew's car just a few minutes ago. They're putting the chocks under the back of the wheels, and then there go the lights which give the driver the go-ahead, and he breaks the beam, and that sets the timing devices in operation. I don't think they're taking much notice of the 20-mile-an-hour sign, especially this Datsun 510. Andrew Field has raced this car in Westwood, and this, of course, is becoming a very, very popular machine in road racing and competition in Canada. Again, in the under 2-liter modified class with the car fully modified, engine-wise, suspension and body, and it looks as though we could. There's a good shot through the trees. Shows the height of the hill, gives you a good idea of where these fellows are trying to push these cars up this 800 feet in 2.2 miles.
A very demanding course indeed, Jeff, with 18 corners, blacktop all the way, and speed may be a little deceiving here, but Andrew Field is certainly going all out.
The average speed up the hill is somewhere in the region of 66 to 70 miles an hour. Now, that's an average speed, which, of course, is very different from the flat-out speeds that they get to on the short straightaways. And putting a car through these corners like Andrew is doing, it's a very good line. has to beat a 2:19 or 2:18.3 was his previous time. And at that time, he's right in there for a class win, although he is going to be challenged by some of the Minis. Mini Coopers seem to have an advantage, but this is a Datsun 510, 1600 cc's, and putting out a goodly number of horsepower. Andrew Field, the driver, just 21 years of age, throws it over at his time, 2:19.3, a full second slower than his previous run.
Without question, the hill climb is a family affair. In fact, upwards of 7,000 on hand today. This is car number 46B, the driver Jamie Brown of Kelowna.
Jamie Brown, a very popular local driver, Bernie. He's a manager on the local radio stations, and he's been driving for about 4 years, and this is his 4th go at Knox Mountain, so he should know the hill very well. He looks to get off to a, something's happened. It looks as if Jamie is pulling off at the first hairpin, and it looks as though we might get a rerun for Jamie Brown. This car that you see turning round, and it looks as if it is going down again, is incidentally one of the few cars of its type in North America. It's a Ford Escort, and this car is cleaning up on racing events in Europe, but not many of them. It's not imported as a sedan into North America, but Jamie brought this one, I believe, from the east. It had been raced there, and as the marshals brush the mud off the track, Jamie comes down for another go.
So a rerun for this driver from Kelowna, Jamie Brown, in car 46B, running into just a little trouble on that first corner, but Jamie's all set to go as the crowd looks on, and he's away for another run up the hill, car 46B, the Ford Escort.
It's away to a good start this time. And he's really putting the power, all 160 horsepower. It seems quite unbelievable, and he gets around that first hairpin very well this time. Seems unbelievable that this car, for our North American conversion, let's put it that way, 96 cubic inches. And he's getting 160 horsepower out of it, which is pretty good. Bit of braking there.
Might make mention, Jeff, the variation of horsepower. 150 horsepower, as you mentioned, in this car. But we've seen all types, and we'll see all variations of horsepower throughout this race.
Well, the time to beat for the fastest time up the hill is 1:59.02. We've been talking in terms of 2:10, 2:18, but 1:59.02 was set by Ray Smith in 1968. Very good in its class, but I think could be beaten by our next car. Who is it, Bernie?
This is Lou Nielsen, car number 62, and Lou has to beat a time of 2:10.6. And Lou is a veteran driver in this hill climb. In fact, this is his 6th year as an entrant.
Lou's a very spectacular driver. He spares no effort in putting his Mini up the hill. In fact, last year he had the misfortune of rolling his car over one of the 100-foot banks, so we wish him better luck this time. Here he comes, 60 cubic inches of real power in that little engine. Advantage of handling through the corners, and that's what stands these Minis in good stead. They can really power it through, and as I said just now, I think Lou could do the trick and come up with a win in this class. His second run was 2 minutes 10.6. He has fastest time in his class already, but I think he could do even better yet.
Gearing, without question, is a big factor in this type of a motorsport event, Jeff.
Yes, you've really got to set your car up, both suspension-wise and gearing, as you already said. One of the things about this hill, it was built to allow drainage with no respect or regard for this kind of competition. So a lot of the corners are adverse camber, and that makes it very, very tricky. And looks like he's going to get a good time, Bernie. He's really pushing it through these last turns. Look at that drift, just flat out across the line for 2:10.3. And that, I believe, is going to be the fastest time for his class, Lou Nielsen of Kelowna.
Jim Moody, the publicity chairman for the Knox Mountain Hill Climb. And Jim, you've had quite a history, some exceptional races in the past 15 years.
Yes, we certainly have, and we've had good weather for the whole 15 years of it.
What surprises me is the variety of cars. Almost anything can be entered in this race, and I guess that's what makes it so popular and so colorful.
That's right, Bernie. We have every major type of car represented here. We have Trans Am, we have Group 7, and even the Formula cars as well.
Jim, being the publicity chairman, of course, you're looking for a lot of support from across the country for this event. You boast that it's perhaps the best course and the best event of its kind.
That's right, and I would like to challenge any other sports car club in North America to prove that they have a better hill climb than we do.
Thanks, Jim. Let's get back to the action here in Kelowna, British Columbia. This is car number 6, the Formula Ford, with driver Dave Morris.
This is the first of our open-wheel cars, a class on its own for formula cars. And as some of our viewers might not know what we mean by formula, I always like to bring in the idea of the baby's bottle. You put a little bit of this and a little bit of that and a little bit of the other to make up a formula for the baby, and that's what you do with a car. You build it according to weight, size, engine capacity, specifications, and make up a formula car. Dave is an operating room engineer in a hospital in Edmonton. He's got to beat 2:08.2 to take the fastest time in the formula class.
We mentioned at the outset a variety of cars. We had Lou Nielsen earlier from Vernon, a time of 2:10.6, and now this Formula Ford with Dave Morris from Alberta.
Formula Ford is based on the 1600cc Cortina engine, and it puts out about 105 horsepower and only weighs about 900 pounds. Advantage in cornering because it's so low and the center of gravity is way down. And the clock ticks by at 2:02.06. A very good time for Dave Morris.
The next car away, driver Ross Sutcliffe, and Ross set a class record last year here in Kelowna. Car number 340 off to a good start.
I think this is the first car we've seen in this class. It's the Sedan's over 2-liter Group 1. Which means, of course, that the car is not modified. The Group 2 cars of over 2 liters, which we'll see later, will be modified. But this car, driven by Ross Sutcliffe, is a very aggressive driver.
What about the advantages the local drivers would have on the hill climb?
Well, of course, Ross is one of those, and he will have seen this hill quite a few times during the last few months, I'm sure. He does live in the district and therefore can come up and try it whenever he wants to. Not at these speeds, but the whole secret of this hill climb is to know where the corners are and have it all in your mind as you climb. He's already set a 2:15.4. And he doesn't beat it, so he's 2:15.4, and his second run still stands.
This is a Gremlin, car entrant 501. Walter Bobinski is away.
I think our viewers should watch the cars going through that first corner, and you get some idea of the drivers who are going to hold their foot down on the first corner. And this car, very unusual in competition, a Gremlin. There are not too many of them run in competition. I think personally that Walter Babinski is finding a little bit of a problem in the suspension. You notice how the car is bouncing just a little.
Undoubtedly, the open wheel cars would have the advantage on this type of a racing event.
Yes, I think so, because of their low center of gravity, and you can really see it in contrast to this car here, which gives all the appearance of being quite high on center of gravity. Successively lowered his time from 2:37 to 2:21, and as he comes up to this major corner, he's going pretty well to do even better yet. 19.9.
Judy here, Miss Knox Mountain Hill Climb Wendy Hurdle. And Wendy, are you a real keen sports car fan?
Yes, I sure am. We've gone to most of the races and everything at Westwood for 2 years now. And I've taken part in the hill climb for 2 years.
What about the event now? They even have women drivers. I guess you're pulling for the gals in this event.
Oh, that's right. I'm disappointed that Pat Green isn't driving this year, though.
Any ambitions yourself to perhaps take part in this event?
Yes, I'd like to. I don't know if I have the guts or not.
It sure takes that. It's a real tough course, and I think when you've been talking to the drivers, they've had some favorable comments, but also they're all readily admitting that it is a tough course here.
Yeah, that's right. That's what they seem to say anyway.
Wendy, I know we're enjoying the races here today, and you've had a busy week taking part in all the social events, and good luck to you, and thanks for talking to us.
Thanks very much.
This is veteran driver John Hall from North Vancouver in car number 82. And John has been at this hill climb a couple of times, and we watch him take off now.
Notice how he goes through that first corner, Bernie. He had his foot flat on the floor all the way up there. Last year's fastest time of day of 2 minutes 1.02. John had some rather abortive runs in the first two goes up the hill. He had a coil wire come loose on the first run, and then the second time he spun out right at the top when he was looking really good for a fast time. And look at him again. Just look at that drift through that corner.
Of course, all entrants get 3 attempts at the hill, and John Hall is on his third right now.
Fully prepared Trans Am Mustang, 4,950 cc's. That's about the 302 cubic inch engine, producing 450 horsepower. Look at him spin right into the and once again he fails to complete his run, and so John Hall, who looked really good for a fastest time, is going to be unlucky today. He's not going to get a good time at all.
Very disappointed. John Hall, plagued with problems here at the Knox Mountain Hill Climb. Les Moon in car number 182. What type of time does Les have to beat here?
2:15.7 on his second run. And Les is in the same class as John Hall. There are just the two big Mustangs here. They're in the over 2-liter class, Group 2 modified cars. Looks as if Les is going to get a walk-away win here, because with John Hall out of the running, Les Moon is going to drive very fast, of course, to try and better his own personal time. But it looks as if he's got the class all sewn up. See the numbers 1 and 2 on the corners there. They're the brake markers to tell the driver as to when he's approaching the corners and give him some idea of when to apply the brakes. .3, not as good as his second run, but still the fastest time goes to Les Moon in the over 2 liters.
In the F Sports class now, this is Rob McGregor in car number 57. And as we mentioned earlier, a light rain here at the start, but as the cars progress up the hill climb here, you'll see the weather break. In fact, right at the finish, the sun is shining rather brightly today, but a sprinkle of rain in the lower portion of the Knox Mountain. Car number 57, Rob McGregor.
Taking that second hairpin just beautifully. Rob is one of the in the sports car class, that is true sports cars, and there are 8 different classes for sports cars according to size. Rob's a very confident driver. He's had a lot of starts in racing, 6 starts this year and 6 wins in his class at Westwood. .2:15.6, good enough for fastest time in his class.
The climb here on Knox Mountain Road is limited to 80 entries. This is because cars must race up the 2-mile road and return by the same route. If there were another road, I guess, by which to return more drivers, Jeff, could be accepted.
That's very true, but I think this shot here that we've got of the cars coming down gives our viewers some idea of the tremendous variety of cars involved in this competition. Here you see some of the sedans, and then we have some of the sports cars and some of the formula cars as well. Big sedans on their way down to start another climb. Ross Sutcliffe, one of the local boys again. Here are some of the open sports cars. David Brown, I see him there in escort.
Because of the many sharp curves, of course, we mentioned 18 corners. Entry is restricted to people who have entered regular hill climbs or taken a driver's training course of a racing nature. We're in the E Sports class now, and this is car number 94, driven by Neil McGill.
Neil's 24 years old from Kelowna, one of the other local drivers in this purple-colored MGB.
And Neil's previous time was 2:19.6. Neil is heavily favored for a win in this class of esports. He's up against such other cars as a Triumph TR3 and a Porsche, and also a Morgan 4.4, but in his MGB that's the way he could found that second hairpin.
Undoubtedly, Jeff, a great deal of strain on these automobiles.
Yes, I don't think the general public often realize that these cars are tuned to perfection, and the drivers really go all out, extracting every little bit of power. Just look at that drift through that corner. Our cameras really catch it there as they take the best line to get the fastest time. Many of these drivers spend the weekends and the nights rebuilding, tearing down. And 2:11.6 for best time so far in that class.
Also in the esports class, the next driver up is Dave Lynn, another Alberta driver. Dave, in car number 19, is from Alberta, and Dave gets a good start. Might make mention, Jeff, of the safety precautions here at the Knox Mountain Hill Climb. They have the spin-out escape routes at all hairpins, and as we mentioned earlier, the marshals are almost on every corner.
They are an essential part of the makeup of many, many sports car events, racing and hill climbing. They're trained, they have logbooks, and they have equipment such as first aid equipment and fire extinguishers, and they also are equipped with flags to warn the drivers about the nature of any mishap on any of the corners. Dave is 25 years old. He comes from Calgary. He's driven this car at Victoria, where they have another hill climb in BC. And he's also raced it successfully, in so much that he got a free trip to Riverside, California, for winning his class in racing last season.
We've mentioned Westwood frequently. Of course, the Westwood track is just outside the city of Vancouver, and many of the drivers here today, Jeff, received a great deal of experience at tracks like Westwood across Canada.
Talking earlier about the safety precaution, you see the roll bar there behind Dave's head as he crosses the line in 2:27.1.
Timing device here in Kelowna, of course, everything right up to date. The timing device, the starting lights, the green is up, and car number 86, Barry Carter, a local boy from Kelowna, is underway with his run.
Very fierce competition here between Barry Carter, who's a local boy, as you already said, and Neil McGill, both of them driving MGBs in this class. And I think the competition in that class is going to be between these two boys. This one, 86, Barry Carter, won his class last year. Very well under control on that second hairpin. He has to beat Neil McGill's 2:11.6. He had two earlier runs which weren't very good, really, by standard 2:30 and 2:21. So he's really got to go, and he's having trouble by the look of it.
Almost a spin out there, but some excellent driving by Barry Carter, and he's right back on the course.
Barry also took his driver training at Westwood. A lovely drift there through that corner, but he seems to be having some probably tire problem or suspension problem. that good, 2:18.4.
Little slow for Barry Carter that time up the Knox Mountain Hill climb. We changed classifications now to the modified under 2,000. This is car number 38, Gordy Monroe. And back to the start, and Tony Carruthers is underway, number 13, Tony from Nanaimo.
I think that was just a quick glimpse of Gordy Monroe coming up to the start area, Bernie, but as you say, this is Tony Carruthers, and Tony last year was second overall. I think we can look for a real good run from Tony in the Chevron V8, a beautiful car. Very, very few of them about, and probably one of the most expensive cars here today.
It's interesting to note when the cars were in the pits, the crowd, as we estimated, about 7,000, well spread out over this 2.2-mile course. Cars such as the one here driven by Tony, when they're in the pit area, you find quite a number of people giving it a good look over.
Under 2 liters, and this car is class about 1900 cc's, but in the modified section, as we can see. It's not just a stock car, it's very much a sports racing car. We're getting into some much faster times now. We're climbing up the ladder of power, as it were, and we get a 2 minutes .289.
Back to Gordy Monroe in car number 38. We saw Gordy just come up to the start line before Tony Carruthers got away. And Gordon Moore in his Brabham is underway.
This is what's known as a Formula B car. It's still similar to the Formula Ford. It has a 1600cc engine, but they're allowed much more modification. And you can see the wide racing tires as he comes into the first hairpin. Sports Car Club of British Columbia. All these boys are members of sports car clubs across Western Canada. They have to be to compete in this hill climb, which counts towards the Canadian Hill Climb Championship.
I mentioned the safety precautions here at the hill climb. There have been several accidents over the years, but none fatal. That certainly speaks to the job well done by members of the Okanagan Auto Sport Club.
Gordy, as I said right at the beginning, could be the fastest time of day. Has every chance because he has the power and the low center of gravity. He is experienced in driving, and I think that we're going to see a tremendous time here from Gordy Monroe. Motoring up this hill. It looks as if it's going to be about a 1:59. He should have to guess a 1:59.9. A tremendous time by Gordy Monroe. And here he is slowing down, and that is going to be, it is the fastest time so far, and I think that is going to be the time to beat. Remember, the overall best time was 1:59.02, and that was 1:59.9.
Back down to the bottom, there's the green light, and car number 506 is off and running, Norbert Glimpa.
Norbert's in the same class, modified under 2 liter, Porsche 904. Certainly not many of these around in Canada. He's from Calgary, been driving Porsches for many years. This is his latest acquisition. Uh-oh, Bernie, it looks to me as though Norbert Glimpa's in trouble. See that film of oil smoke as he goes away. Let's have another look at him as he comes along the straight here and into this hairpin, and just see how he's bearing halfway up the hill.
Sputtering a little, he's running into a little problem.
Hear that engine, doesn't sound very good.
Norbert's had some bad luck with this car, there's no doubt about it. He's a real Porsche fan, and he really spends a lot of time with his friends working on this car, but he doesn't seem to have got it all together for this event.
Time, of course, is of the utmost importance. Fastest time up the hill, and Norbert is having a little problem getting up there, but he's determined to finish. Many hours of work go into these cars. Obviously, Norbert would be just a little disappointed.
First run was 2:43.8. By my watch here, he's not going to beat that by very much this time. .3.
As CTV's Wide World of Sports coverage continues of the Knox Mountain Hill Climb, we're in the C sports class, and this is number 30, Bob Brown of West Vancouver. Jeff, as we watch Bob Brown go up the Knox Mountain Hill Climb, how do we stand at the moment in the competition?
Well, we have to bear in mind that the fastest time ever recorded on this hill was in 1968 by Ray Smith with a 1 minute 59.02 seconds. And so far today, we've seen two tremendous times, one by Gordy Monroe in the Brabham. Gordy turned a 1:59.9, just 7/10 of a second outside the record. And also Tony Carella from Vancouver in the Chevron B8, who has a 2 minutes .28. And I think the other significant thing, Bernie, is that to come we have the big McLaren of Jerry Olsen and the biggest class of sports cars. That's the over 2 liter, the Corvettes and the Cobras. So anything can happen at this point if we bear those times in mind as Bob Brown goes up on his third run. Locked in the 240Z Datsun. This car is a 1970 model. I think it was completely wrecked at one point and has been rebuilt by Bob and being very well driven by him. And he looks as if he's in good shape for a good time in C Sports. He's got some very stiff competition from Ted Carew-Gibson, who drove his Morgan Plus 8 up in 2 minutes 12.7. Bob's coming through strongly, and it's 2:11.9.
Another driver from British Columbia. This is Mike Hill from North Vancouver, and rather a unique number on Mike's car, simply a 0.
Mike gets away through the first slight right-hander. The first hairpin. Very, very smoothly. This is a Lotus Elan, and of course, followers of sports car racing will know the name of Lotus, the famous mark of the Colin Chapman stable, figures very prominently in World Grand Prix racing. This car puts out 150 horsepower from that small engine.
Mike has also done a great deal of driving in England.
No newcomer to hill climbing. It's a very popular sport in Europe. European hill climb champion and the famous Shelsley Walsh in England. This car really sits on the road. Going to be right in there. 2:09.7, an excellent time.
This is car number 177. The blocks are in place. The driver, Gary Hauser, all set for his third attempt at the Knox Mountain Hill Climb.
Gary's driving an AC Cobra. Very fine combination of English sports cars and North American engines. This is a very popular car of its time. Quite a veteran sports car now.
Ideal weather conditions for this event in beautiful British Columbia.
Gary's driving in A Sports. He's in the biggest class on the hill today. Biggest, that is, in size of engine. And going extremely well. Incidentally, the A Sports record was held by Dick Neal from 1969 when he turned at 2 minutes 5 seconds. That's what Gary's got to beat. And he gets 208.8.
Heading into the home stretch now here in Kelowna, British Columbia. Next driver up is number 503. This is Brian Parkinson away.
Brian in one of the very, very popular North American sports cars, a Corvette in B Sports.
What time does he have to beat here?
Well, Brian's out to beat 213.0 actually, Bernie. And it looks, of course, that he could do it. But that's what all the drivers say when they get on that line. They all think they can beat the time, but somehow the magic of Lady Knox, as it's locally known, seems to baffle them and prevent them from coming through. But we'll watch Brian as he goes up through the second hairpin.
Remind you that all drivers here today had 3 cracks at this hill climb, and all are on their third attempt right now, hoping to better the previous times and, of course, win in their classification.
Beautiful drift there by Brian Parkinson. It isn't always the powerful cars, as we've seen. 2 of the under 2 liter cars have got the best times here today, and this is one of the biggest cars on the course, the Corvette. He's coming through with a 213.06.
A good run by Brian Parkinson. This is car number 39. You can see the driver set to go and the spectators watching anxiously as Mike Atkin gets the go sign, and away goes Mike Atkin up the hill in car number 39.
Mike is driving the Anglo-Canadian Racing Sunbeam Tiger. This has got the 289 Ford engine in the Sunbeam Alpine body. A very popular sports car of its time. Mike drives Formula Ford and is currently second in the standings in the pros in that class. And this car presently belongs to the president of the Northern Alberta Sports Car Club, Ian Natras. And Mike's seeing if he can take this to a class win in B Sports.
Mike mentioned it's been a most enjoyable weekend here in Kelowna. A spectacular parade was held, and of course dancing, and then all topped off by the great cars and the great hill climb here in BC.
That's right, Bernie. Whenever sports car people get together, it's always a great social occasion as well as a competition. And this Okanagan hill climb now been running for 15 years is no exception. Taki Suzuki in a Corvette has turned a 211.7 in this class. That's what Mike has to be. Awfully close. Watch his tick on. And he goes over the line. 2:12.4. A very good time in the class, and I think it's going to put him about second.
This car here, one of the favorites with the racing enthusiasts in the pits. Out on the track now, ready to go. This is Jerry Olsen in car number 52, and we're most anxious to see this run.
Now, this is something the fans have been waiting for. They've been working on that car, as you say, in the pits all day. It's had a couple of runs which weren't very good. And, of course, we're expecting that this car, because it's a McLaren, I suppose, it seems to catch the imagination of the crowd. Here he comes, just look at that, just like a Can-Am car coming along. It is a Can-Am car. It has a little trouble, of course, because of the tight turning circle of this car. It's a racing car, not a car really built for this course, and I think Jerry Olsen, in taking it up, is a real hero. He has something like 600 horsepower there. He's up to that second hairpin in excellent time. So I think this could be the fastest run. Time to beat 1:59.9 by Gordy Monroe. Engine perking beautifully. No signs of missing. He hasn't missed a turn or any spins or anything like that. And all the clocks are on Jerry, and he goes over 1:59.8. And all the clocks are on Jerry, and he goes over 1:59.815. And I think Jerry Olsen has got the fastest time of day after waiting all that time for his final run.
Without question, the most entertaining and exciting event, sponsored by the Okanagan Auto Sport Club and Jim Moody and the gang doing an excellent job here in Kelowna, British Columbia, and a happy Jerry Olsen after that last fantastic run.
Well, I don't know, I'm a bit out of breath on that run, Bernie, because it was we'd been watching the clocks very, very closely through the hairpins just to see what time he was taking.
Jerry, it gives me great pleasure to present you the fastest time of day trophy for the 15th annual Knox Mountain Hill Climb. We're extremely happy to see the McLaren here. We look forward to seeing it here all last year, and it's just been a tremendous car, tremendous run. Congratulations again. Thanks. Fine. Darlene would like to present you with your class trophy as well.
Jerry, the fastest time here at the Knox Mountain Hill Climb, obviously you're happy with that time under 2 minutes.
Yes, we're quite pleased.
What about the performance of the car? It took the third run to do it today. Did you work on the car after the first two runs?
Yes, we changed the spark plugs, rejetted it, set her up for another goal.
What about the McLaren car now? Obviously, it's running fairly well, winning the Knox Mountain fastest time. What about future plans as far as events in the near future?
Oh, now we go to Westwood, learn how to drive it, and maybe we'll enter a Can-Am or two this year.
Gordy Monroe, the second-place driver in this Knox Mountain Hill Climb. Well, we've lost our hat, Gordy, but never mind. On your second run, you turned in a fabulous 1:59.9, and you've won your class. How do you feel?
Oh, pretty good. I like to go on a little quicker in the last run, but that's the way it goes.
When you came up on that last run, conditions were like what?
About the same as the second run. They were real good. It's all my fault for blowing it.
You were telling me earlier on that going into that corner, you were having a little trouble with the brakes and that. Did you have it on the last run?
Yeah, same thing. Exactly. Yeah.
But you'll be back again next year?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. We'll have another go at it.
The Brabham was going very well, and what's your next race with it?
Be a race at Westwood in about 3 weeks, I think.
Well, is that going to be a little bit more for you than this hill climb, or do you think you really had to put out today?
It's a completely different thing. You don't know where the corners are and where they're going and everything, and it's, I think, probably more difficult to do this. Where racing, you settle into a nice, easy pattern, where with this, you just never do get it right. You know.
Well, thank you for coming on the air with us, and we'll thank you and see you next year.
Fine, thank you.
A most successful Knox Mountain Hill Climb here in Kelowna, British Columbia. And Jeff, I think you'll agree that all entrants put on quite a performance, and the spectators here for the 2 days certainly had a lot of excitement to cheer about.
That's true, Bernie. I think by the time the day had wound itself up, we'd had just about everything, and the race, the event itself, of course, was good because it wasn't wrapped up till the last run, the whole of the last run. And everybody was on tenterhooks. There were some good class winners, at least 4 new class records, which is something for the book, and a variety of cars, and as you say, the 7,000 spectators went away very, very happy.
Jeff, I guess the big question is now, what do the people in Kelowna do for an encore next year?
Well, I think this thing has been getting better all the time. It's a 15th annual one, as you know, but this year we had a little bit of moisture, which made things pretty tricky, but I think they'll still come up as the thing is progressing, and I think next year we might even have a better entry, and we may get a bigger variety of cars and even a faster time.
Right, Jeff, and thanks for being with us, and enjoyed working with you here in Kelowna, British Columbia at the 15th annual Knox Mountain Hill Climb. This is Bernie Pascal and Wide World of Sport.